I don't have to be first, but welcome, I'm Fred Human from the NBC affiliate here in Lansing. Coach Izzo often is fond of saying, challenges are not a responsibility, they're a privilege. You've got all the coaches in this room, we don't see this often. What kind of a privilege is it for you to lead this group of individuals into an era that's changing like it never has?
It's an incredible privilege. This is an incredible place, defined certainly in no small part by incredible coaches and student athletes. And so to be here today, to join this Spartan family is an incredible privilege, and I can't tell you how excited we are to get started.
Chris Solari, Detroit Free Press. Jay, welcome. I'm wondering, you mentioned the Big Ten and the role within the Big Ten as being something that drew you to this job. How do you enhance Michigan State's role within the Big Ten leadership and up towards the upper echelon? Previously, they've been at that seat. How do you get back to that?
Certainly that starts on campus. We have a lot of, we have work to do. We've got an incredible team, incredible coaches, incredible student athletes. So we're going to work. Commissioner Petitti is an incredible leader, truly blessed to have his leadership in the league. And so it involves, certainly us working hard on that each and every day.
Jack?
Jack Ebling, Drive with Jack, and Press Pass. Welcome again.
Yes, sir.
Michigan State has a unique story to tell, socially as well as in terms of success. How important is it for you to learn that story and spread that message at a time when everything seems transactional and that money only matters?
It's incredibly important. My first job will be to listen and learn. I'll spend a lot of time asking questions and listening and learning. And then at the end of the day, here at Michigan State, but nationally, college athletics is worth it, right? The endeavor that we have, that we take on, that we, back to what I said earlier, we were in the opportunity business. And so it's changing for certainly at a rapid and dynamic pace. But that change provides opportunity, and it provides some things that are the same. And those things are worth it. And so we're going to continue to work hard to provide those opportunities for student athletes and to drive home those things that make Michigan State truly special.
Connor Yerke, Detroit News, Jay, welcome to East Lansing. You were a non-revenue athlete yourself in college, and obviously this landscape of college sports is changing for what non-revenue sports face. Where do you see their role in this next wave of college athletics?
That's a great question. I see them as continually incredibly important, right? We talk about if opportunity is the key to and the currency of our business. Those revenue sports help drive, but at the end of the day, those Olympic sports, the non-revenue sports, they're just as important. And so success across the board is an important goal, and this is a top 10 athletic department and will be successful.
Larry Leach from the Associated Press, welcome to East Lansing.
Thank you.
Did you talk to Nick Saban about this place? What did he say, and what did you hear from other people?
I'll tell you that as long as I've known Coach Saban, he's been so positive about East Lansing, about our fan base here, about this place. And so immediately when Chad Cutlass reached out and had a chance to think about it, it was an immediate yes for me, because certainly Coach helped frame that for me. He's so positive about Michigan State this time of year that it made it pretty easy discussion.
Bob Winowski from the Detroit News. Coach Izzo had mentioned in his statement that it can't be like a plane, it's got to be a rocket going straight up. So I gather there's some urgency to the changing environment you're involved in. How much can you change, how quickly, and how much needs to change at Michigan State?
Certainly, I'm sure there's a bunch that we'll need to dive into. I'm not going to tell you exactly what that looks like until we get here. And so this is a dynamic environment. It'll require new, different things brought to the table, new resources, right? What it's going to take to be successful continues to change. When we get here, we'll figure that out and spend more time with that.
Can I just follow up real quickly? Tom likes to speak of the white elephant in the room, and the white elephant in the room is NIL and donor money and everything else. I assume that is a major priority for this regime?
We're going to be extremely successful and competitive in that space. we're going to be intentional about providing all of our coaches the resources to be successful at championship level. I'll tell you, I believe as we head into the revenue share, the post-house settlement, hopefully, what that requires will change, and how we approach that space will change. But I can tell you, we'll have a great plan. We'll be united in that plan. We'll be aligned in that plan. From President Guskiewicz to our coaches to our board as we head into that area.
Chris Solari, Detroit Free Press is for President Guskiewicz. When you went into this a month ago in the process, as you were looking and identifying what you wanted in an athletic director, one, I guess, could you maybe talk about the traits that Jay brought out that you stood above everybody else, and then also in the current environment nationally with how important athletics is in the change, how much is the communication and, I guess, cohesion with the university president and an athletic director necessary right now?
Great, thanks, Chris. I wanted a thought leader. I wanted somebody who was respected at the highest level in the industry. Jim Phillips is a good friend of mine as well as Coach Izzo said. That call to him was a little difficult because I was potentially pulling away one of the top ADs in the ACC, which is where I came from and admire so many people there. But I wanted a thought leader. I wanted somebody who that I knew, because I've seen Jay work at that level when I was chancellor of UNC Chapel Hill, and we got together at meetings, and he's a guy that has rolled his sleeves up, and he's at the table, and he's invested, and he's not sitting back. A thought leader nationally, somebody who can get creative around new revenue streams, which is so critically important, somebody who's outward facing and engaging. And I mean, I've heard from so many people in the room here in the past couple of days that he's already called you, some of you, many of you, texted with you. That's who he is. You will get to know J Batt, and that's what will take us to the next level. And on top of that, he was a better soccer player than he's going to let you believe.
This is also for Kevin. Following up on the rocket analogy, as you got to know Jay, what's his rocket fuel?
It is spending time with these incredible coaches as I'm looking out across here. We have amazing coaches here that he's going to get to know. They're going to help him get to know this place better. We have really rich traditions here at Michigan State that I've learned in my 15 months are really important to people in this room that care deeply about Michigan State. And he has already tied up a listening and learning tour. That's what I did. So it's embracing those rich traditions, but getting out and finding out how do we become a more contemporary, bold, thinking, looking institution. That's the rocket fuel. It's a combination of embracing the rich traditions that are important to people at Michigan State and the Big Ten, but finding that new rocket fuel, that new version of it that's going to take us. And I love Coach's analogy that I've heard him use it once or twice before. Luke, I think you have too. But this is the guy who'll get it done. And I didn't say earlier in my comments, I want to make sure we have amazing coaches here that are part of that rocket ship. And I know Jay's going to spend a lot of time over the next few weeks to get to know them. So.
There any addition, Fred?
President Guskiewicz, once more, Fred Human again. I don't know if you want to admit this in front of him, but in your conversations and doing your homework on him, is there anything he did or said where you said, this is our new leader? That's it.
I lost the last
Was
part.
there anything he did or said that pushed you over the hump and said, this is our new leader?
Well, just the fact that he took my call and I was told he wouldn't. That was a good start. But we reminisced a little bit about our, 25, going back 25 years ago, and but realized that we really hadn't worked closely together and during the past 24, 25 years. But it was just confirming the things that I thought about, Jay, some of the questions about how you build a leadership team, how you evaluate people, how you set expectations. I'm a big believer in setting expectations, and that was a big part of what we heard in developing the leadership profile. And I want to thank a number of folks in the room, including a number of our trustees that provided some of that input in building that leadership profile. But setting expectations is something he's done really well, and getting people to align to a vision, align to a strategic roadmap and plan. One of the things I think he said, and I'll stop with a long answer to your question, but strategic roadmaps, you can't, it's easy to say we're going to have a plan for the next 10 years, but with the way the landscape of intercollegiate athletics is changing, he's like, we've got to think about what does our plan look like for the next 18 months perhaps, and let's build it out
both strategic thinkers, strategic leaders, and I think you're all going to love them. So, thank you.
Bob Woodowski, Detroit News for Jay. You had mentioned in your statement, obviously, that football is paramount for any athletic department. What can you do to push that? You said you're going to do everything you can to help Coach Smith. Is that facilities? Is that NIL? Just at first blush, how can you push that along?
You know, I had a chance to catch up with Coach Smith this week and again today. Certainly we haven't dove into exactly where that's going to be and how we can help, but at the end of the day, it comes down to resources, right? And across the board, we will work very, very hard each and every day to provide him and his staff the resources they need to be successful.
Aiden Champion, Michigan State's Barnes on SI. Welcome, Jay. You made some great hires at Georgia Tech. A lot of this has been about what Michigan State saw in you. What do you look for in people under you that you oversee?
You know, that's a broad question. I think there's there's certainly some things. You start with the integrity, right? Integrity is key at the highest level. And then we want an athletic department full of competitors, right? This is a place in which we're judged on winning, but doing it the right way. So those people that make and fit that mold, and then fit is truly important. So kind of zooming out, fit for your place, for the program, for that timing, all important as you build a team.
All right, we got time for two more, starting with Stephen.
Stephen Brooks, 24/7 Sports. This is for Kevin, actually. Kevin, I'm curious, a lot of references today about the changing landscape of college athletics. Within these last couple of years, we've seen people hired into leadership positions that don't come from maybe the traditional college administrator sort of pipeline, that would come from outside or adjacent sort of spheres. Was it important to you to hire somebody like Jay with sitting AD experience that sort of navigated this environment that we're in right now, or why or why not?
Great question, and I think we got the best of both, because we look for, there are two different, you're right, you're seeing athletic directors around the country, some being hired in institutions where they're bringing somebody out of corporate America, or somebody that's been working in major leagues, perhaps has not been a traditional athletic director, but they understand the corporate side, the business side of the operation. And there's some risk in doing that, although I think you're going to see more of that. With J Batt, we've got somebody who spent most of his last, probably 15 years doing that, but yet he's played the game. An outstanding Division I athlete. One of the things that's important to me is he develops relationships with coaches. I'm saying it for the second time, and I know that he can do that. He's walked the sidelines, been on the sidelines as an athlete himself, but also spending a lot of time with coaches and some really good coaches. But he understands the business side, the corporate side of this, and so I think we got the best of both.
We'll wrap up with Connor.
Connor Yerke, Detroit News. Question for Jay. A few weeks ago on the podcast, you talked about the importance of alignment for an athletic department. As you look at Michigan State, and this room, I think, speaks to the alignment a little bit, but in terms of cultivating that alignment from here on out, what are your sort of goals in that regard?
Yeah, I would tell you that alignment institutionally with our coaches, with our fans, top to bottom is the most important thing as you approach change, right? Regardless of the industry, change is an opportunity, and alignment is the biggest strength I believe we have here at Michigan State. The leadership of our president, in concert with our board, and with the incredible passion of our donor base, that alignment is truly powerful. Our coaches, our student athletes, it's all pointing that right, that rocket fuel up. So, thank you.
All right, that will conclude the